In the heart of a remote mountain valley where the air was thin and sharp like a blade, the Burning Flames School stood as a lone sentinel against the encroaching night. Its pagoda roofs loomed under the moonlight, a bastion of serenity and tradition amid the darkness. The school was revered as a sanctuary for the samurai, a place where they honed their skills and learned to master their inner demons under the guidance of Master Haruto. Master Haruto, a figure shrouded in both reverence and mystery, was a man whose mastery over chi energy and fire manipulation was unparalleled. His teachings were the very essence of discipline, his wisdom as deep as the sea. Haruto had trained countless warriors, but none with the potential and promise of Ronin, a young warrior whose bloodline was traced back to the founders of the Burning Flames. Ronin was driven by a singular purpose: to uphold the honor of his ancestors and prove himself worthy of their legacy. As the school slumbered, shadows crept through the dense forest surrounding the compound. These shadows belonged to a cadre of renegade ninjas, merciless warriors without honor or code, driven by envy and ambition. They were a coalition of 7 deadly schools, each wielding unique elemental powers, united by a desire to extinguish the light of the burning flames forever. Under the cover of darkness, the ninjas moved with practiced stealth, their presence as insidious as a whisper on the wind. Clad in black, their eyes gleamed with malice as they scaled the ancient stone walls and navigated the rooftops with feline grace. The only sound was the soft rustle of cloth and the occasional hiss of steel being drawn from its sheath. Inside the school, the samurai lay in peaceful repose, unaware of the storm about to descend upon them. Ronin in particular was deep in a dream of future honor and strength. His dreams were abruptly shattered as the air filled with the clamor of battle shouts, the clash of swords, and the unmistakable crackle of fire energy. He awoke with a start, the sharpness of reality cutting through the haze of his dreams. The scent of smoke was thick in the air, and the unmistakable heat of flames seared the night. The school was under attack, and his heart raced with a mix of fear and determination. The night was a dark tapestry, against which the renegade ninjas launched their brutal assault, striking with terrifying precision. Flames erupted from the wooden beams of the Burning Flame School, casting wild, flickering shadows that danced like malevolent specters on the walls, his heart pounding in his chest as the heat of the fire seared the air around him. Grabbing his katana, he burst from his quarters and plunged into the fray. The courtyard, once a tranquil place of peace and reflection, was now a hellscape of blood and fire. Samurai fought valiantly, their swords flashing under the pale moonlight as they battled the encroaching darkness. At the center of this maelstrom stood Master Haruto, a pillar of calm amidst the chaos, directing his students with unwavering authority, his presence a beacon of hope and resilience.
"Ronin to me!"
Haruto's voice sliced through the din like a clarion call, drawing Ronin to his side with a sense of urgency and purpose. Together they fought with unmatched ferocity. Ronin's strikes were fueled by the chi energy that pulsed through his veins, his movements swift and precise. He felt the power of fire surging within him, a gift he was still learning to control, but one that was formidable in its raw potential. Flames danced along his blade, illuminating the night as he cut through the enemy ranks. Yet despite their courage and skill, the samurai were overwhelmed by the sheer numbers and ferocity of their foes. The renegade ninjas were led by generals of great power and cunning, each wielding their elemental mastery with devastating effect. Sora of the Wind Clan moved with blinding speed, the air itself bending to his will as he struck with the force of a tempest. His presence was announced by a sudden gust of wind that sent debris and ash swirling through the courtyard, disorienting the samurai and leaving them vulnerable to his lethal strikes. With every swing of his blade, a powerful gust followed, slicing through the air and sending opponents sprawling. Nearby, Goro of the Earth Brotherhood stood as an unyielding force, his massive form seeming to meld with the ground itself. The earth trembled under his command as he summoned stone and soil to create formidable barriers and projectiles. His body, seemingly impervious to harm, was encased in a protective armor of rock. As samurai clashed with him, they found their blows deflected by his earthen shield, their efforts thwarted by his unrelenting defense. Kaida of the Water Tribe wove through the battlefield with grace and agility, her movements as fluid as the element she commanded. Streams of water coiled around her like serpents, lashing out to drown her enemies in suffocating torrents. She danced amidst the chaos, her presence marked by the constant ebb and flow of water shifting from liquid to solid ice in the blink of an eye, freezing opponents in their tracks. Above the chaos, Ryo of the Thunder Sect was a blur of motion, his body crackling with electrical energy. Lightning arced from his fingertips, striking with blinding speed and devastating power. Each strike was accompanied by a deafening crack of thunder, disorienting the samurai and leaving scorched earth in his wake. Ryo moved like a force of nature, his attacks swift and merciless. Fubuki of the Ice Coven descended like a winter storm, her presence heralded by a chilling wind that swept through the courtyard. The air around her crystallized into shards of ice, which she hurled with deadly precision. Her enemies found themselves encased in frost, their movements sluggish and their strength sapped by the numbing cold. Fubuki's eyes were icy and calculating, her attacks as beautiful as they were deadly. In the shadows, Kurayami of the Shadow Guild moved with deadly stealth, striking from unseen angles. His mastery of darkness allowed him to blend seamlessly with the night, his presence only known by the whispers of his blade and the cries of those who fell before him. He was a ghost on the battlefield, elusive and untouchable, his every movement shrouded in mystery. Finally, Jorogumo of the Poison Order moved through the chaos like a viper, her touch lethal and her presence feared. She wielded toxins and venoms with expert precision, weakening her foes before delivering the fatal blow. Her enemies succumbed to her poisons, their strength waning as they fought to stay on their feet. Jorogumo's smile was as deadly as her blade, her laughter echoing through the night as she reveled in the suffering of her victims. Ronin watched in horror as his fellow samurai fell one by one, their cries echoing into the night. The courtyard was awash with blood and despair, the once noble ground now a battlefield littered with the bodies of the fallen. Desperation clawed at his heart as he realized the futility of their resistance against such overwhelming force. In a final act of desperation, Ronin and Haruto stood back to back, their blades weaving a deadly dance as they fought to hold back the tide. The flames roared higher, casting an infernal glow that lit the faces of their enemies, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still. Ronin's every strike was driven by the memory of his fallen comrades, his resolve unbroken even in the face of certain defeat. But fate was cruel. A fatal blow struck Haruto, and he fell to the ground, his life ebbing away. Remember your training, Ronin. You are the light that will guide our legacy, he whispered, his voice barely audible over the roar of the flames, his eyes conveying a final message of hope and trust. Ronin fought on, driven by fury and grief, but his strength waned. In his final stand, he was surrounded, and a blade found its mark, piercing his heart. As the world faded to black, he felt a strange peace, his thoughts drifting to the faces of his fallen brethren. The night closed in, the embers of the burning flames school glowing faintly against the backdrop of destruction, a promise of rebirth and vengeance yet to come. As the school burned, a mystical energy stirred amidst the ashes. Ronin's lifeless body lay amid the ruins, a silent witness to the devastation. But deep within his chi began to react. sparked by the fiery inferno that raged around him. The power of his ancestors awakened, coursing through his veins, calling him back from the brink of death. Slowly and miraculously, Ronin's wounds began to heal, the fire becoming one with his essence. His eyes fluttered open now, blazing with a fierce, otherworldly light. In that moment, Ronin was reborn, not just as a samurai, but as a force of vengeance and justice. He rose from the ashes, his heart pounding with renewed purpose and a singular resolve to avenge his fallen brothers and reclaim the honor of the burning flames. The dawn broke over the charred remains of the school, casting its golden light over the landscape. As the first rays of sunlight touched his face, Ronin stood alone, the last samurai of a legendary lineage with a burning desire for retribution in his heart. The energy of the fire was now his to command. With a deep breath, Ronin summoned the flames to swirl around him, feeling the heat and power surging through his body. His senses were heightened, every detail of his surroundings as clear as crystal. He knew that this newfound power was a gift from his ancestors, a final blessing to guide him on his path. The once vibrant school was now a haunting reminder of what had been lost. The charred remains whispered secrets of the past, the smoke rising like spirits into the dawn sky. The weight of his fallen brethren's sacrifices bore heavily on his shoulders, fueling his resolve. Emerging from the ruins of the burning flame school, Ronin embraced a new identity. No longer just a samurai, he became a master of stealth and shadow. Among the people, his name became a whispered legend, a ghostly figure driven by vengeance. His enemies believed him dead, unaware that he now stalked them. Ronin journeyed across the land, determined to hunt down and destroy the generals and senseis of the 7 deadly schools who orchestrated the massacre of his home. Each school, renowned for their elemental mastery, awaited his silent wrath. Navigating treacherous terrains, Ronin honed his skills, mastering his chi and fire elemental powers. His path was fraught with danger, yet his resolve never wavered. Fueled by the memory of his fallen comrades, he moved unseen, a symbol of retribution. The outcome of his quest was uncertain, but Ronin pressed on with unyielding determination. For the honor of the burning flames, he would rise, and the 7 schools would never know what hit them.